The main focus of Chapter 2 is the study of macromolecules. Macromolecules are large molecules that make up living things. These large molecules are also called biological macromolecules because they are found in living things and they are made by living things. There are 4 groups of macromolecules: the proteins, the carbohydrates, the lipids, and the nucleic acids. So, again, this chapter is going to mainly focus on the characteristics of the 4 biological macromolecules: the proteins, the carbohydrates, lipids, and nucleic acids. These large macromolecules make up cells, whether they be eukaryotic cells or prokaryotic cells. For example, nucleic acids are found in the nucleus of eukaryotic cells and in the nucleoid region of prokaryotic cells. Lipids make up cell membranes. Cell membrane of eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells are made of lipids. So are the internal membranes found in the organelles of the eukaryotic cells, like the mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and Golgi apparatus. Lipids also make the nuclear envelope, which is part of the nucleus of the eukaryotic cell. Proteins and carbohydrates are found throughout cells. In the case of the eukaryotic cell, proteins and carbohydrates are found embedded in the cell membranes, are part of cell walls, are part of organelles. They are found in the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cell. These large molecules are also found inside the nucleus. In the case of the prokaryotic cells, proteins and carbohydrates are also embedded in the cell membrane. They make up cell walls. They make up cell structures like pili and flagella, and they're also found in the cytoplasm of the prokaryotic cells. Macromolecules are made by cells. For example, proteins are synthesized in the ribosomes of both the eukaryotic and the prokaryotic cells. Nucleic acids are synthesized in the nucleus of the eukaryotic cell and the nucleoid of the prokaryotic cell. Lipids and carbohydrates are synthesized in the cytoplasm of the eukaryotic cell and the cytoplasm of the prokaryotic cell. Again, we're talking about macromolecules, large molecules, which are also called polymers. Each of these macromolecules are made of smaller components called subunits or monomers. The smaller subunits or monomers that make up large macromolecules are brought together through chemical reactions called dehydration synthesis reactions. Dehydration synthesis reactions depicted here consist of reactions in which smaller components, in this particular figure depicted as these blue squares, are brought together by the removal of a water molecule. The subunit or monomer is now attached to other subunits and monomers previously attached by synthesis reactions. Here's another example of a dehydration synthesis. In this case, we have 2 monomers, an alpha glucose molecule and a beta glucose molecule. Through a dehydration synthesis reaction, a water molecule is removed and both glucose molecules are now attached together, creating a larger molecule called a maltose. These reactions can continue, creating progressively longer and longer chains of glucose molecules until a carbohydrate or polysaccharide large molecule is created. Dehydration synthesis takes place inside cells and produces the large biological macromolecules needed by the cells. For example, dehydration synthesis occurs in the ribosomes and make proteins. The opposite reaction of a dehydration synthesis is a hydrolysis reaction. A hydrolytic reaction is going to break the monomers from a large biological macromolecule, creating the smaller component. So a hydrolysis reaction breaks up macromolecules back into its smaller subunits. A hydrolysis reaction uses water to break up the bonds between the smaller subunits of the macromolecule. Here's a depiction of a hydrolysis reaction. Here's a large polymer made of 4 monomers. A hydrolysis reaction uses water to break the bonds between the polymer and one of its subunits. Cells make macromolecules using dehydration synthesis. Cells break up molecules using hydrolysis reactions. Cells need energy to make macromolecules. Dehydration synthesis reactions need energy. The depiction of a glucose molecule and a fructose, a small molecule, coming together in a dehydration synthesis with the removal of water to create a sucrose molecule is a dehydration synthesis which requires energy. On the other hand, hydrolytic reactions release energy. The breakup of the sucrose molecule by water will release energy, and at the end of the reaction we'll have 2 monomers, the glucose and the fructose. You now should be able to answer the following questions. What are macromolecules? What are the 4 major groups of biological macromolecules? Where are these molecules found in the cell? Where in the cell are these molecules made? What are hydrolysis reactions? What are dehydration synthesis reactions? Which of these 2 types of reactions need energy and which release energy?